up, YouTube? It's AskTheYoungOne with CreateHigherVibrations.com. Today I wanted to make a quick video and talk about something that I don't see people talking about a lot, and that is in reference to actual trauma. And I see a lot of videos that are made where we point outward at everything, and at some point, if you are actually on a healing path and you're actually taking life and the experiences as happening for you, then you are at some point going to have no choice but to turn inward. If you are a person that wants a change in life, but yet you're stuck and it seems like it's been the same thing for years, you're going to need to go inward. And I believe, hopefully in this video, I'll point out some of the things that I have ran across in my own path and why I believe it's important for us to understand, because the root to a lot of trauma is shame. And we already know that narcissists are rooted in shame, and that they are created by creating defense mechanisms so that they don't feel the shame. And instead, what a narcissist will do, so this is important if you've been in a relationship with one, what narcissists will do is they will project the shame onto you. And then when you're a codependent who is cut from the same cloth of trauma, which is shame, you are going to then carry the projected narcissist's shame that they're projecting onto you. You're then going to carry it and stack it on top of yours. And what that's going to do is start to erode your confidence, your self-esteem, your ability to love yourself. It's going to erode you. And a lot of this is coming from toxic shame that we have already been carrying within ourselves. And therefore, we don't know when we're getting hammered with someone else's how to differentiate someone else's and our own. So then we end up taking on the responsibility of all of it. Whereas this is their defense. This is how they do it. This is how they get the codependent or the other empath or whatever you may be in this situation. This is how they weaken you. This is how they feel more confident than you. This is how they continue to control you. This is how they create the addiction, because you want to fulfill your own shame. And this is important for us to understand. And it's important. One reason is because once you begin to heal your shame and you recognize it, you will be able to recognize when someone else is projecting theirs onto you. And then you will learn to not accept that into your energetic field, into who you are, into your mind, into your heart. And so it's important to understand how shame can ultimately affect us in every aspect of our lives, not even just in the narcissistic abuse situation or a domestic violence situation, but it's everywhere. And we have to change it by changing within ourselves. And it's like when we feel unlovable, when we feel abandoned, when we feel unworthy, when we feel not good enough, these are all rooted in shame. And most of the time, it is going to come from a place of childhood. It's going to come from a deeper rooted place in childhood. And this is why we end up in, as an adult, this is why we end up in a lot of the situations that we end up in these relationships. Because when all things are energy, like attracts like. And we can't constantly point the finger outward if we want to heal from inward. It's just not how it works. The only thing that outward can do is reflect back to us our inward. So an example of this is when you have a subconscious belief, when you have a programming built on shame, that is the imprint of the subconscious. That is what the subconscious is going to be looking for in life to bring to your reality. This is why it's important for us to understand how and what needs to be needs to heal. And so when we can understand this, we can start meeting our own shame with different programming, with different thoughts, with different experiences. We can be conscious to create different experiences because we are not our shame, and we must understand this. So when you're feeling unlovable, that is coming from a deeper place, being triggered by the adult version, trying to fulfill this prophecy. And it's important for us to understand this if we want to take our lives to another level. Because toxic internalized shame, which can happen from narcissistic abuse or an abusive relationship period, when people are shaming and projecting shame back and forth and just exchanging it, it's not good. It's not good in any form or fashion. And it's sad because shame is being demonstrated so, it's everywhere. If you're in school, you get bad grades, you're bad. You're a bad boy. You're a bad girl. Be a man. Big boys don't cry. Like, all these things are telling you that you're bad, that you're a bad person. All of these comments are bad. You watch our leaders, the people that should never, or I should say should know better to be, especially to be in the positions that they are, they're doing nothing but shaming each other. This is shame, back and forth. This is trauma, back and forth. And we have to start opening our eyes and understanding why we are in these situations, why life has walked us down this path, because it's about how we respond to the situation. It's no longer about how we react, and it's no longer about how we continuously want to understand something that is beyond us, that is outside of us. We're trying to understand the mind and function of another human without ever understanding the mind and function of our own inner self. And this is why I personally want to bring it to attention. It's why I like to talk about it. It's why I like and chose to do what I do. It's why when I work with people, this is what we work on, because this is what's going to take you to the next level. When you can get rid of shame and start being and tap into your own vulnerability, tap into your own creativity, your life is going to be different. Shame will keep you from ever living the life that you are consciously desiring, but unconsciously too ashamed to go do it. It's so important to understand this. This is so beyond these relationships. This is literally, I see people living the same exact lives for 20 years. It's never changing. They think they're trying, but unconsciously they're living through the lens of shame. So it's stopping them from ever doing things. I see people that say, I want to start YouTube, but I need this to be perfect. I need this to be this. That's shame. Shame is stopping you, and this need to be perfect is stopping you. That is shame stopping you. And instead, you need to be able to, once you begin to heal shame, you can take the data and optimize it and continue to do that, continue to grow from that. Then you're not seeing and perceiving the world and perceiving your self-concept from a place of shame. When you're not seeing yourself from a place of shame, you can begin to make the changes and do things differently because you see differently. I don't make these videos in a perfect setting either. I use a Note 8. You do what you need to do to get your message out, to do what it is that is bigger than yourself. And it doesn't need to be perfect. That's the beautiful thing about people, is we're perfectly imperfect. And we have to be able to accept this part of ourselves. We have to be able to self-reflect and become self-aware and allow the outer reality to begin to show us what we've been living. If we want change, if we want better. We cannot attract a loving relationship if we feel shameful and unlovable. It won't happen. So in order for us to do this, we need to heal these parts of us. We need to go in and start identifying them. We need to stop looking out here and pointing the finger at everything else and everyone else. Because the last time I checked, as a conscious being, we have free will to make these choices. And the one thing that we must understand about shame is it is the leading cause of addictions. Not just heroin addiction, not just opioid addiction, not just alcohol addiction, but love addiction. Addicted to people. Codependents become addicted to the narcissist. We're addicted to this because of our shame. And we have to, the way we fix this and heal in order to see the world differently so that we can move forward and start doing what we came here to do, because we didn't come here to live this suffering life. We did not come here for this. This is not why you're here on earth. You're not here for the drama and the chaos with another person. Like, that is not why you're here. And so it's important to bring this to the light and begin to talk about it. Begin to look at ourselves and self-reflect. If we want change, we have to create the change within. And when we create the change within, we'll begin to create the change without. And so it's highly important. And for me, it's like, this is like my passion, because my passion isn't to talk about narcissists. I absolutely, honestly, don't like to talk about narcissists, because they're not going to take you to the next level. They're not going to raise your awareness. They are not going to heal you. And so I think it's deeply important to talk about the things that are actually going to make a difference and actually create awareness in this world. I mean, like I said, shame is everywhere. I mean, it's the leaders of the great country, the leaders of the great United States get up there on both sides, every one of them, and they throw shade and shame each other constantly. What an example for the kids in the United, what an example. And we have to be able to recognize this. And not only for that reason, but if we have kids, we don't want to put our shame onto them. And if we're unconscious to it, then we're going to do that. And then the cycle continues. So it's highly important to understand what is going on within in order to create the change without. And I'm pretty sure that most of us don't want to create a burden of shame that our children must then spend a lifetime going through multiple experiences in order to figure out what to heal. When we as parents can use them as our teachers rather than us trying to teach them and placing our burdens within them, it makes a world of difference. And I think that this video, I hope, will open some eyes, like open your mind some. And I hope that it actually gets you to think a little bit and start to look in the mirror. Now, I know there's quite a few people that are already doing this work, and it's beautiful, because I guarantee you they can vouch how different things are when they begin to heal these things. The kryptonite to shame is empathy, but it starts here. Like, we can't carry this vibration within us and expect it to not start to create out there. And when I mentioned earlier about our subconscious imprint, if we have a shame-based subconscious imprint, we have a ton of shame that we're carrying, the perfectionism, the feeling like a fraud, the I'm not lovable, the unworthiness, the I'm not good enough, the I'm not attractive enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, I must be bad. We have to recreate and go through and heal it and recreate a new imprint in the subconscious. Then the subconscious will begin to attempt to recreate this reflect back to us and put us in a reality more aligned with the work that we're doing on ourselves. And so I hope this video helps. And again, like, it breaks my heart to watch people live or deny themselves the ability to fulfill exactly what they're here to do. Too many people are not leveling up in life. They're not stepping into their power because of shame. And if you want to make the change, we have to get deeper and go deeper and heal these things. We have to stop giving our power to trying to understand another person, which is almost virtually impossible to ever do. So I hope this video helps. Like I said, I'm not perfect, so I'm sure, it can go on for days talking about this. And I'm sure there's things that I wanted to say that I didn't say. But I think I got my point across, hopefully, that when you feel all these things, we need to be aware. We have to start healing these parts of ourselves, and then we have to stop projecting it out onto others, and be able to identify when others are doing it to us, so that therefore we do have free will, we do have choice as to the information that we take in, but we have to be aware of it. If we're not aware of it, we're not going to know what to do, how to do that. We're not going to know what to do, and therefore we're going to take it in, and then becomes even more toxic within us. And so I think it's an extremely important thing to realize and talk about. And so I hope this video helps. I'm going to jump off here for now. I appreciate everyone, and I will talk to you on the next video. Namaste.